Welcome, baseball family. This week, we're going to give you a 25% of the way through the season news dump right now. 9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome, baseball family. We are super excited to be here with you today. We've got a ton to talk about, but first, introductions are in order. If you're new here, I'm Brig, and I got Mr. Brad Master here with me. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing well, Brig. Thank you. How are you today?
Not bad, not bad. It's late, allergy season, and we're all going to do the best we can because it's also hot in Phoenix.
That's right. It is. It was like overnight. It was like fine, right? Yeah. Then all of a sudden it's like hot. Nice. On the day of soccer practice. Love it.
Of course. Did you were you able to taste some brown water while you were out there with your Brown Creek water while you're out there with playing football with footballers?
No, I had like lightning yellow creek water in my cup instead.
Nice. You're doing the do?
Yeah, doing the do.
Yeah, you would do the do. All right, baseball family, if you missed your opportunity to jump on the T-Mobile bandwagon and, like you should, maybe switch over to T-Mobile, and I'm not getting paid to say that. I love T-Mobile, and the reason I love T-Mobile is because they give me free baseball every year. So T-Mobile is doing its second round. This is unprecedented, but they're doing a second round giveaway of MLB TV, and you can claim your free MLB TV from May 23rd to July 17th.
That's a huge window.
A huge window. Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's an enormous window. Kind of don't know why they're pushing this marketing, but we don't really care. We're just really excited to have another opportunity to get a $150 free package of MLB TV.
Yeah.
So if you're like me and you're willing to sell your soul for some baseball, jump ship to T-Mobile and grab yourself some of that. You got quite the window to do it. And I'm not getting paid to say that they have iPhones and Androids at the flagship level all around. Anyway, I should get paid. We should get paid by them.
We should. Maybe we might need to send an email.
I'm going to call my alderman. All right. Let's start. Let's start here. Do they even have those anymore?
I don't know.
Isn't that like a New England thing, an alderman? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I know it's old school. Anyway, all right, let's start with our favorite topic about the A's.
Alderman.
The A's. Are you laughing because this is the first time you've recognized I've said it that way, or because it just keeps coming that way?
It just keeps coming. It's just so funny. Sorry, go ahead with the A's.
It's like 100 years, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the Athletics, which I'm sort of not comfortable calling Oakland anymore, like attaching Oakland to that name anymore. Is anybody else feeling that way? What do you think, Brad?
You're going to have to start detaching. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm disassociating myself from the name Oakland Athletics and just going with the Athletics. And for those of you that don't know, they used to be in Philadelphia, and they had a rich and storied franchise
too.
Yep, and they have been all over the place. So this is not necessarily a new thing for the franchise if you go back far enough. Okay, they have made new milestone progress on this relocation deal, and I think it's worth talking about. They made an announcement today. Today's Monday. For a 30,000-seat stadium on a 35-acre site, which is where the Tropicana Hotel and Casino has been on the Vegas Strip. So this is like one block closer to all the action because it's actually on the Strip instead of behind it. And it's a smaller facility, so it will kind of play into that exclusivity that MLB likes with those old school retro baseball parks, not the new retro look.
It's an eyeballs thing too. That if they're not selling out that stadium, it doesn't look nearly as bad if it's huge.
Exactly.
Because that was something that they were pitching in Portland too. Is like, well, it'll just be 25,000 people, so there's a level of exclusivity that people in Portland like. And if we're not selling it out, it doesn't look nearly as bad if we've got 40,000 empty seats because we're only packing in 20 when we've got 60,000. So it's kind of an aesthetics thing as well.
I totally agree. The project is now expected to cost about $1.5 billion, which is a little bit of a discount in some ways as the last deal we saw. I think it's like 1.6 was the number we saw from the last deal. But now they don't need the gondola rides and they don't need any sort of L train like we were talking about because they'll be right in the heart of the action at the end of the strip. So that's really cool. The A's are asking for nearly $400 million just from public support from the Nevada legislature to help get this bonded and taken care of. They may vote on a proposal this week at the legislative level to see if they're even willing to play ball all the way around. So that's pretty exciting. I feel like that's a big jump forward from where we were last week, which was more speculative. Don't you think?
Right. Yeah, it is. It really is. And I feel like this week we've seen, like, why is it all of a sudden we're seeing like renderings for ballparks? Like we have this one, and Orlando is like really pushing hard in the last couple of days. Like they have like, did you see that thing that they pushed that they sent out with like,
it looks sci-fi.
It does. It's like a ballpark attached to like a park and like an amusement park, and it's all indoors, and it's just absolutely bananas.
And the whole ceiling is glass with like struts and beams that are this like alloy material that's going to hold it all up. It looks like a space helmet, honestly, for a giant.
It does. It's crazy. I'm curious if the A's are kind of looking at that and being like, that could work. You could do that around here.
Like that.
Because it would certainly fit in with the rest of Vegas. You have something that's gaudy and ridiculous, like where the Raiders play. It looks like a friggin' spaceship. It's enormous.
It does.
It does. I'm sure that the A's are going to want something with a similar look to compete with everything else around it that pulls in the eyeballs. So,
I totally agree. They're hoping to have this open. They're hoping to have this open by 2027. The Oakland Coliseum loses its lease in 2024, the end of the 2024 season, for the Athletics to play there. And so they're saying that in the interim, they would play at the Las Vegas Aviators AAA facility while they are no longer allowed to be in Oakland's Coliseum, and they are going to now be relocated to Vegas. So it could be a couple of years at the AAA facility.
I'm not sure. I mean, every game would have to be a night game there during the summer because it's close to, if not as hot there as it is here. And there's been discussions about issues with Chase Field because they have issues with the roof
all the time.
And so and one of the things is that they were worried about, like, they're like, the Players Association won't let us play games here during the day because it's so hot. Like, we have to figure the roof out. And so I'm curious if that's what one of the stipulations will be at that AAA park is, like, you got to play night games all the time. You cannot put guys out in 115 degree heat because it's just not good. It's not safe.
It's perfectly reasonable to me. I don't know. We'll see. But you're right. Tony Clark in the Players Association would absolutely insist, and they would get their way, and it would be the right answer. So, super dumb.
And honestly, when it comes down to it, too, I think that the owners would like it more because day games don't sell the way night games do, unless it's
and the players don't like playing day games anyway. They all like being under the lights because they can see the ball better.
They do. I was looking at it yesterday, and it's like the bats are like legitimately more awake during the day than they are at night games. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think so. And I love going to a day game. But every ball player I hear says that they like the lights because they can see the ball better.
You can.
So
I don't know. I think it's funny that day games are just like that weird thing where it's like you don't know who's going to win the game. It's probably going to be high scoring. It's just out of control baseball. It's chaos ball during the day for whatever reason. I don't know what it is.
I love a day game. I don't even care. I'm going to a day game this August, actually, in New York. Ooh, I just found out. I'm very excited about it.
That is very exciting. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to mid-yawn that, but that's how it goes sometimes.
It is late, Brig.
I'm so excited. All right, let's move on. Cedric Mullins hit for the cycle, which you'd think would be the most exciting thing the Orioles have going this year, except it's just par for the freaking course right now for the Birds. Okay? If things can be going their way, they're going to be going their way right now. And Cedric Mullins is just there for the party. He is a big part of it, and this is just further evidence. So this is his first cycle in his career, which is super exciting as we kind of see the tail end of his career coming. The 12th in Orioles history.
The tail end of his career coming. What?
Don't you think?
No.
Yes,
No.
you do. Yes, you do.
No.
His career was on the skids until he got here and they started doing well.
Cedric Mullins? Didn't he come up with the Orioles?
No.
He's
Did
28
he?
years old. Yeah, he's been in Baltimore forever. You're thinking somebody else, Brig.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Anyway, it's his first cycle, 12th in Orioles history. He's the 11th player in the Orioles franchise to do it. Nobody cares, Brad. There have only been 2 cycles hit this season so far across the league. The other one was Luis Ariz. He did it on April 11th, and everybody knows that. Go ahead, Brad. Brad has a cycle trivia question for me.
I do.
He's going to break out my big T trauma with trivia. Go ahead.
Okay. Who are the 3 players? I'll make it a little bit easier on you. Okay. There are 3 players in history who have hit for the cycle 3 times. Bob Musial did it in 21, 22, and 28 for the Yankees.
Okay.
But the other 2 guys who have done it are active players. They've both done it 3 times. Can you name for me those 2 fellers?
They're active?
Active, yeah.
And they've already done it 3 times.
They've already done it 3 times, yep. And they're pretty I'd say they're in the middle of their careers, both these guys.
Why do I want to say Acuna? I don't know why.
No, that's not right.
And it's not Ohtani, is it?
No, not Ohtani.
Then I have no idea.
Okay, Acuna has not hit for the cycle. One is Christian Yelich. He did it twice in 2018 and once in 2022. The other guy is none other than Trey Turner. He did it 3 times with the Nats. He did it in 2017, 2019, and 2021.
Get out of this whole town right now.
I will not.
That's fabulous. Trey Turner, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. I could see that guy hitting for the cycle 2-3 more times.
Yeah, because he'll extend those. He'll stretch those doubles into triples and make it happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's got pop too,
fast.
so he can make it happen.
Well, thanks for spoiling it for everybody, Brad, on that trivia question. Let me just hide and shame really quick on every time Brad has a trivia question. Don't worry, I have a trivia question for you. So okay. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right. Update on Ohtani's impending free agency. We got to talk about this is Showtime here, our little Showtime segment. One MLB executive, or excuse me, MLB executives and agents and insiders and everybody else who cares, they're all saying that Ohtani should get and likely will get $524 million. It's
a lot of tortillas.
Show enough. Brad, the question I have for you is that too much? Is it not enough? Where do you stand on this?
I don't think it's enough. I mean, I've said it before. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And you got to look at Ohtani as 2 different players. He is a pitcher and he is a hitter. He is a dominant MVP caliber pitcher, a dominant MVP caliber DH. Yeah. What would you pay that level of pitcher? What would you pay that level of DH? If you're looking $300 million each, you got to pay him $600 million. You're getting a discount at $524. In fact, you're probably getting a discount at $600. Even if you're thinking, okay, $350 for the hitter, $300 for the pitcher, $600 million is still going to be a discount. Because you're going out and you're getting 2 elite players on the free agent market. Like, you have to pony up. I think at bare minimum $550 is going to be the mark.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's what I would walk into a room and say, it's $550. If you don't want to give me that, I'll go somewhere else and get it. Which I know doesn't really feel like it fits Ohtani's personality, but he certainly could.
Well, he's worth it. It's just going to be a matter of do his people care enough to swing the big hammer and get him what he's worth? Because I agree that's what he's worth.
Shoot.
I agree that's what he's worth. The problem is what other things does he value maybe more than money?
Well, and so that's one of the things that's crazy too, is the money that he generates off the field. Like I think they said that he brings in like 30, what was like 300 million or something like that a year
Yeah.
off the field.
Yeah, that was
Is what he
last year's
generates.
projected earnings just off his merch.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his merch sales alone are going to pay for him. You go out and you get him, and you just deal with it because he's gonna pay it back in multiples, right?
Oh yeah, those dividends are coming back hard.
Yeah, so I don't think you worry about what he wants. I think you pay it up because you're going to get it back.
Anyway, the question now is, who's going to pony up the dough, and who's going to run up the price? Because we've seen Steve Cohen, who's absolutely willing to throw figures around and bring anybody on for just about any price and whatever, and he'll just throw numbers at you, and that will run up the score, as it were, on the rest of the league to try and be able to match. And that's going to really put a damper on his abilities to go to a more middle market team like Seattle. Mm-hmm. That's going to be tough.
It would, but like, I don't know, because I can't remember if I mentioned this to you or if I was talking to Jewel, that like we both kind of complained a little bit that the Mariners didn't spend a lot of money this offseason. And it's like, and I understand, like, you can't force free agents to come to your team, but they didn't even make offers.
Right.
Like they just sat on their hands during the winter meetings. They didn't really do anything. And I wonder if it was one of those things where they're like, we got a good team right now, but the one we want is next year. So we don't want to dedicate too much money that offseason because we kind of got to save if we're going to be making an offer, a competitive offer to Ohtani. And so I wonder if that's kind of how that came in. But I feel like anybody who's got any money at all can offer Ohtani because, like I said, they're going to make the money back anyway.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, and we're going to pay attention. We'll keep you updated, baseball family, as things progress.
For sure.
Let's move on. The Yankees split the series, a 4-game series with the Rays. And this is unheard of because of all the reasons. The Yankees have been playing basement baseball for the last couple of weeks, and we have all been saying that Rome is burning, and it's crazy. And then the Rays cannot miss. They've been undeniably amazing. And then they walk in and face the Yankees, and they split the series. I mean, as a Yankees fan, I'm thrilled, but as a baseball fan, I'm confused. Is this just like a middle May sort of balancing out of things, or what happened here?
Yeah, I think that's what it is it's a balancing out. Because like I said before, I can't remember if I said it here or if it was in conversation, that what the Rays are doing is not super sustainable because they have guys outperforming their career averages, right? Like, yes, you can have a career year. That's fine. I understand that. But to be outperforming by that much to take the next level, that's not sustainable. You're not going to play at that level for an entire season. So I think this is a little bit of a correction to the mean. The Rays are still really good. I'm not going to take anything away from them because you've got to play really well to have that kind of start. I don't think they're going to have an Angels-esque meltdown.
I don't think so.
Because they're better than that. But I do think they're going to be they're catchable because it was so early. They're going to be catchable. I think the Orioles could potentially rattle some off and catch up to them.
You know who's not catchable? Was Anthony Volpe.
You're right.
You know who is catchable? Is John Sterling's Anthony Volpe home run calls. Oh, it's bad. I didn't think it could get worse than Stanton's, but I was.
What does he say?
Wrong.
What does he say?
I will not repeat it here. It's that bad. I don't even. I heard it and I was like, what?
I'm going to have to go look up on the Google machine and see if I can find it.
Do it. You go figure it out on your own time because I do not have time for that crap, okay? It's so forced. Anyway, Volpe is creating runs out of thin air, and we love small ball, but this guy's playing the smallest of baseball right now, okay?
Well, and
on
also big
Saturday.
baseball. He's playing big ball too. Grand slam
He
the other day,
is.
dude.
Yeah, that's right. His average sucks, but his production value and his capabilities defensively, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Let me tell you a story. Saturday, Anthony Volpe facing the Rays. He decides he's going to, the Rays are up 6-4, right? Volpe, with nobody on base, lays down an exquisite bunt right up the left sideline, right up the third baseline. And he guns, it's dude's fast. He guns it to first base. Paredes muffs the grab. He tried to barehand it coming in from third base. Muffed it. Didn't even make the throw. Didn't even catch the ball. Volpe's safe on first base. Then Volpe decides he's going to steal second base, and he does. Totally doesn't even get caught. Then he decides he's going to steal third base. Didn't even throw. There was not even an attempt to catch him. And then there's a wild pitch, and he scores.
Scores from a bunt.
He bunt singled.
Manufactured his own run.
Yeah, he bunt singles, stole 2 bases, scored on a wild pitch with a terrific jump. This is the smallest of baseball. Okay, he's literally pulling runs out of thin air, and I'm here for it all day long. So
do you think the rest of the dugout seeing that kind of stuff, the rest of the clubhouse seeing that kind of stuff, do you think it has kind of brought those guys around and rallied them maybe a little bit? Because they've kind of turned it around in the last several days.
Yeah, I also think Aaron Judge is back. Right, the captain's back on the ship.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. We're always talking about X Factor and whether it's relevant or not. For those of you that don't know, Brad and I are full X Factor team guys. We really believe in this X Factor clubhouse cohesion junk.
Yeah.
And whether it's all the way stitious or just a little suspicious, I don't know. But we have that much superstition. That's one we believe in all of the way. It's not, there's no rabbit's feet involved. This one's real. Anthony Volpe. Yes, definitely. We're going to turn on both sides and we're going to say a prayer. Okay. So Anthony Volpe has stolen 13 bases now. And he's 5th overall. And we'll get to that. But Joe DiMaggio, over the first 3 years of his big league career, went uncontested, was not caught stealing 12 out of 12 times. 12 stolen base attempts, totally successful. And then in 1938, he was tossed out on one of his 13 stolen base attempts. Yeah, you're right.
Who knows? He might have been tossed. Maybe he was mad that he got caught.
Maybe he was tossed. You're right. Thank you for the semantic correction. That's important. That really is. He gets caught this late. He gets caught stealing on his 13th stolen base attempt in 1938. That was the record to open your career as a Yankee from your rookie season on until the other day when Anthony Volpe in that scenario stole his 13th. So now Anthony Volpe
by the way, it's May.
And it's May and it's his first season.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's super awesome. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Stolen base leader. Esteury Ruiz has 18. Ronald Acuna Jr. has 17. Jazz Chisholm Jr. and Ji-Hwan Bae both have 14, and Volpe's in 5th place with 13. That's where the league stands as far as stolen bases. And it's pretty interesting to see these elevated numbers through mid-May. It's 25% of the way through the season. If this continues, then, these guys are on pace to steal a lot of bases.
And I'm here for it.
That 30-30, 40-40 situation is on its way back, and it's going to be amazing.
Exactly right.
Tell us about Zack Greinke, Brad.
So Zack Greinke became the 5th pitcher ever to strike out 1,000 individual batters. I think that's an incredible feat, not only because you have to play for a long time, but also you have to be a strikeout pitcher for a long time, because we see guys who, and I know strikeouts are like way up over the last several years because guys don't care about it nearly as much. But at the same time, though, like, you still got to play for a long time to be able to strike out in 1,000 individual batters. The other 4 guys ever to have done this were Roger Clemens at 1022, Greg Maddux with 1049, Randy Johnson with 1123, and Nolan Ryan because he started pitching in 1182 AD.
Yeah.
He has 1182.
Moses was his squad leader when he took the mound for the first time.
I think he struck out Noah. That was his first strikeout.
He struck out Noah.
Like, that's
yeah,
a fact. Yeah. Gave him the heat, couldn't catch up.
Well, Noah was not in his prime at that point. Let's be honest.
At least
Small
750 years old. So he was playing small ball at that time. Anyway, no, that was quite an accomplishment for Zack Greinke. I think it's really cool that the guy's still around and still doing it. And like he's just so funny too, playing for the Royals. That he just is out there, just like, I'm just gonna do my thing. I don't really care anymore. Just
I think that's
whatever.
clear. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm here for it. Super exciting. Congratulations to Zack Greinke. I think this is kind of cool stuff. Like 5th all time. That's, I think, a super cool statistic.
Yeah, I do think we're going to see. Well, I don't know. I was going to say I think we're going to see more guys get there, but I don't think we will because careers are shorter now than they used to be.
And starting pitchers aren't going as deep. Anyway,
exactly. I was going to say guys aren't going as deep in games. Their arms blow up earlier. So,
yep.
We might not see too many more over the next several years.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Let's jump over.
Let's talk about the National League is also fascinating because the Phillies and the Rockies had a grudge match that went down. Wasn't it on Mother's Day?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was on Sunday.
It was yesterday on Sunday. So they decided to celebrate Mother's Day.
Say about this.
Yeah. God. Brother Harper. Okay, he's indicted in this situation. We got at a benches clearing shove match. Here's what happened. Right-handed pitcher Jake Bird put down 3 in a row in the 7th inning against the Phillies. It was at Coors Field versus the Rockies played the Phillies, and he starts chirping at the Phillies dugout, and he's chirping, he's slapping his glove, he's doing his thing. Brother Harper takes exception, comes storming out of the dugout. Of course, his locks are flowing. He's got his junk band protecting his head from sweat. And he comes out with his bite suit arm attached.
His bionic
arm. Right, his Schutzhund bite arm, Anyway, he comes out and everybody stops him, and the bases or the bench is empty, and the dugouts come out, and everybody's shoving each other and whatever.
And,
the one person who was not there was Jake Bird. In all this melee, he's the one that was not able to be found because I guess he, quote, flew off to the dugout pretty quickly.
That's good.
Thank you. I think I read that somewhere. I'm not going to take credit for that, but it was terrific when I read it. I had to use it here. So anyway, Jake Bird and Brother Harper get ejected from the game based on this situation. And after the game, this is what I thought was the best part of the story. After the game, during an interview, Bird was asked, what the heck happened? He was like, I was just showing emotion, man. Wasn't directing anything toward the Phillies. I'm like, come on, man. Anybody with even one eyeball and a cataract in that eyeball can see that he was chirping. He was directing all of his anger and energy and emotion, or whatever you want to call it, at the Phillies dugout. And here we go. Leadership, team cohesion, X factor stuff. Bryce Harper's the backbone and heart and soul of that team. He jumps out of the dugout to defend his turf. Absolutely, he does. What are they going to not let him, throw the ball? Who cares? So he takes one for the team, and he keeps that energy going. He keeps the juice alive in the dugout. I think this was a ridiculous situation by Jake Bird. I think this was an incredible leadership move by Brother Harper. To me, that's the storyline.
Right. Yeah, the leadership. I absolutely agree with you. And, the Rockies did end up winning the game 4-0. So, and I think some of that might have had to do with the fact they didn't have Brother Harper late in the game. But, this is the thing. It's like, I don't know. Maybe Bird feels like he needs to celebrate every victory he gets because the Rockies are 17-24.
I could get behind that.
Maybe that's what it is. Like, yes, finally won something. Yeah, got to find a way to like manufacture emotion and energy, and maybe that's what he does.
That's fair.
I don't know, but at the same time, though, man, like, understand where you're directing that emotion, and have a mind for the consequences too.
Right.
Because somebody's going to take exception to that. And it's kind of funny that somebody did, because I was talking to one of the guys who played basketball when we were in college, and I said something about how I was at a soccer game in Seattle, and I was like, man, somebody said something. I was like really not sure how if the players would have heard it, how they would have reacted. He's like, I love that stuff, man. He's like, chirp at me all you want from the stands. He's like, it just fuels me, gives me more energy, you know?
Nice.
And so some guys can take it, some guys can handle it, but other guys, I guess, just can't, you know?
I don't know.
And maybe Harper was frustrated because they were losing. I don't know.
I don't think so. And maybe you're right. Who knows what he's thinking? But for me, he's still kind of rehabbing. He's still doing the best he can to support the team and whatever. But he brings that sort of backbone leadership, and like, so he gets taken out of the game. That I don't know. I just thought it was a brilliant stroke, but in the 7th inning,
good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So since the Padres put up the crying Kershaw,
we talked about that last week
banner.
A little bit.
Yeah.
After the Padres beat the Dodgers at home, they put crying Kershaw up on the jumbotron, and then the Dodgers went and won the next 2 games and won the series.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
The Dodgers are now 5-0 against the Padres.
They swept them this weekend.
Yeah, Dodgers swept the Padres in LA. Friday 4-2, Saturday 4-2, Sunday 4-0, all in LA favor.
And they're 7-1 overall since the crying Kershaw. They took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. Thank you so much, San Diego, for awaking a sleeping giant, and you stay classy.
Yeah.
Come on. I get it. You're a rival and you want to do silly stuff like that. But at the same time, though, like, they've owned that division for the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
Just let a sleeping dog lie. If you're going to beat them, enjoy it in the clubhouse or something. Don't do something to awaken that fury that they can unleash on you and the rest of the NL West, because you're going to pay for it.
It's dearly. One thing if the fans had dangled a banner like the one they did with Mookie Betts
in the corn,
which was really funny. He thought it was funny. Yeah. Nobody cares. But to put it on the big screen, right, and the scoreboard and everything, like, that's an institutional problem. And that's, I think, where they took umbrage with it, and I would have too.
Well, and the other thing to me is, like, the Dodgers could have gone and just won those 2 games and then just lost every game between now and then. To me, doing something like that, though, screams little brother syndrome, right?
Totally.
That the Padres are like, we finally beat you. We're the little brother, and we finally took it to you. It's like,
yep.
I don't want to say act like you've been there before, because I hate that. But at the same time, though, organizationally, like, don't act like the little brother because it's a bad look.
Every day.
Every day.
Let's move on. This is our Taylor Duke segment for the week. So we're very excited for Taylor. Taylor's one of our listeners, and he said that we don't talk about the D-backs enough, which I think is reasonable, you know?
Yep.
And so we're going to talk about the D-backs now, and we're going to make it a big deal just for Taylor. We're very excited. And we're going to talk about your Gold Glover, Christian Walker. So Taylor, I don't know if you noticed, but on Friday's game versus the San Francisco Giants, Christian Walker got tossed from the game while he was in the dugout. Here's the situation. Teammate goes in, check swing, pulls it back. Umpires say he did not go around. Safe call. Christian Walker, standing up on the top rail behind the netting of the dugout, claps his hands, and then gets ejected.
That is the softest move I have ever seen by an umpire.
I could not understand. He was baffled. Everyone was baffled. All he did was celebrate the fact that his buddy pulled back in time, got the call he wanted, and that was it. I think it was brilliant. By Christian Walker. Did the right thing.
Well, he did do the right thing. Like
he celebrated the win,
he celebrated the win. You celebrate the
and it
small
was
wins.
calm.
And yeah, it's not like he was like,
Even-
unless he said "good job, Blue," and because it was the home plate umpire who tossed him, unless he said "good job, Blue," and they saw that as like super sarcastic because maybe they hadn't been doing a good job. Maybe that's what did it. But at the same time, he didn't. It doesn't sound like he said the thing that you don't say to an umpire.
No, I watched the video, and there's no. He doesn't even say anything.
He
I
doesn't
don't
say
think I
anything.
saw him say anything. He literally claps and turns away from home plate and is looking at his teammates down the dugout, and then turns back around and goes, "What?" It was, oh man. Okay, there you go, Taylor. So we're confused and we're so sorry.
But hey, those
I'm gonna-
D-backs might be for real though. By the way,
That's true.
might be. They've
Might
got
be.
Corbin Carroll and Dominic Fletcher are legit.
Corbin Carroll is rocket fire right now.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of how awesome he is.
I know. He's
That
a lot
kid
of fun
knows
to
how
watch
to
in
ball.
person too.
Brad, are you going to be ready on the trigger for this? Because Baseball Family, we have a new segment that we're excited to introduce you to. Go ahead, Brad. Cue the music. Umpire show, where we talk about how awful some of these umpires are. Umpire shenanigans rule the stage. First things first, in the umpire segment of the show today, Angel Hernandez has officially officiated only one game this season, and news has started to break everywhere as we all come to awareness of this fact that the only time he has been on the field during a Major League Baseball game in 2023 was April 3rd. That wasn't even behind home plate, Brad. He played the third base umpire role that day.
And he's probably still got it wrong.
He probably did. What I will say, though, is everybody's pretty excited that Angel Hernandez is absolutely not in charge of home plate calls.
And I hadn't even thought about it until we saw this graphic on social media. I think it was today. It was like,
yeah,
oh yeah, you haven't seen the Angel Hernandez home plate call compilation in a while because it hasn't existed this year yet.
Nope, it totally hasn't, and I'm here for it. The only problem is there's a little bit of a back channel storyline going on here that's not as exciting. They're citing a medical issue that's likely the cause of his absence, and that's never fun. So even though we love to rag on Angel Hernandez, and even though he's complete meltdown anytime he's calling balls and strikes and wants to make everything about him, a medical issue still no joke. We don't really want to.
But let's be honest, it's probably his eyes.
Yeah, it probably is his eyes. What do you want to bet?
He's having a hard time recovering from cataract surgery.
Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't strain something out there doing them trunk rotations.
All that stretching.
Yeah, he's not. It wasn't that. Anyway. Okay, let's move on. MLB umpire director. Oh, wait, I said that. It's freaking eyes. Okay, cancel the music. There's some good news in the umpire world. Trip Gibson's April 23 home plate performance was literally incredible. And I've got the graphic right here. I'm going to pull this up, Brad. Check this out.
Sweet.
Oakland versus Texas. Oakland lost 2-5. No duh. Trip Gibson, it was a Sunday. Trip Gibson's overall accuracy, 99%. The expected average, accuracy average was 97. So he way outperformed himself. His relative accuracy was, again, in the positive, almost 2 points above expectations. Overall favor was only 0.66 runs in favor of Texas. And in a game like this, it's versus the Athletics. I think that's all negligible. His overall consistency was 97%. His average has been 94. Or is that a league average? I can't remember.
A league average is 94.
That's right.
So you look at those impactful calls. This is the thing that's crazy to me is bottom of the first, you've got at the top of the zone was a strike that was called a ball. And then the bottom of the second on the outside corner of the plate, outside edge of the zone was called a ball. And that one, I don't want to call it egregious, but it was definitely on the plate. It was called a ball, but in the bottom of the second, you're not too worried about it typically, especially with one out and the base is empty and an 0-2 count, right? Not that big of a deal. And that one at the top of the zone, 1 out, runners on, first and second and 3. So that loaded up the bases, but still, like, you're not super fretting that because that's a borderline call. That ball barely touched the zone. So you're kind of like, okay, maybe up a little bit, but not super bad calls that he missed. I mean, I think most people would kind of roll with it, especially given that situation in the bottom of the second, kind of like, all right, 1-2.
Yeah. Out of 101 called balls, only 2 were actually strikes.
Yeah, those
are the 2 Brad has told you about.
Crazy.
Out of 44 called strikes, all of them were actual strikes. He never missed a strike call the whole game.
And that to me is the big deal.
Yeah.
That's the one, is because calling balls strikes messes with hitters' heads. And I know people, you got to adjust to the zone, whatever. But the strike zone, it says in the rules what it is. And the plate is the plate. It's not relative. It's not subjective. It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. The zone is the zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here's my question, Brad. This is obviously an outlier situation.
Right. Yeah, very much so.
Every time you get a one-off, you have to think, okay, was this just a really good day? Same with pitching, right? You're like, is this just a really good day or something else going on? You have to ask that question. And the way the baseball is being played today, it's unfortunate, but we do have to ask that question. My initial thought was, wow, good for him. My very next thought was, did they sneak a robot umpire situation into this game?
Maybe. I don't think they did, but they could have. Remember a couple years ago in the playoffs, the umpires were really good. And we were like, are they like sneaking these robot umpires in here? Because, and that's the problem though, is that umpires and their zones should be good enough that shouldn't be the first thing we ask when they do a good job.
Exactly.
Like, are they getting some help here?
That's what. So therein lies the problem, right? That the rest of the league seems to have a serious problem. Enough of a problem that when one guy does a great job one time, we are not willing to trust that it was a great thing. We want to celebrate that it was a great thing, but we can't trust it. And I think that is a big problem.
It is.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question. If in the future, let's say at the end of the season or maybe at the All-Star break or whatever, they came out and they say, all right, it's probably going to be at the end of the season. They say, okay, remember this instance and this instance and this instance, when those umpires did a great job and everybody was really excited about it. Well, guess what? We used robot umps those days and you didn't even notice, right? I don't think they're going to do that. But let's just say in some Orwellian situation that happens in November, that's what happens. And Manfred gets out there and he says, neener, neener, boo-boo, I told you this is a great idea. See, I promise. And I proved it in low leverage games. Okay, is it a bit of a conspiracy theory? Yeah, I got that. I understand that.
You forgot your tinfoil hat, Brig.
I'm reaching a little bit here, but at the same time, I do think it's interesting. And if, as fans, that were to happen, Brad, what would your reaction be?
I mean, I've been saying for years I'm okay with the robot umpires. So on one level, I'd be like, awesome, great. See, yeah, it's awesome. It works. Nobody ever noticed even a difference aside from the fact that they were really, really good. But the problem that I do have is with transparency. It's like, okay, so what else are you lying to us about? Are the baseballs really juiced again? Are there
really 3 kinds?
Yeah. Are we doing some other stuff behind the scene that we're not letting the fans know about that's messing with the game? Are we fixing games? Maybe. Hard
maybe
to fix
organically,
game, but yeah.
That was exactly what I was worried about.
That's the big issue, is that it raises more questions than it answers and causes more problems than it solves if they were to do that. So that's really what it comes down to.
Get out of my head, mister. All right. Let's move on to interleague stuff, because this, I think, there's two situations here that are fabulous and super fascinating. Atlanta was swept by Toronto. How in the world this happened, I have no idea. Now, I've said over the last few weeks that Toronto's a pretty good ball club, right?
They are. Yeah, you're right.
And you've agreed with me, but I feel like you've been a little hesitant to give them the props they've deserved, and which is fair. But now I'm not sure how to feel anymore. I feel like somebody went and done poke my dark spot again, and I'm trying to figure out just exactly where I stand.
So
like
the thing
somebody
that,
staged a coup in the kingdom.
yeah, so the thing that's interesting to me about Toronto is that Jose Barrios and Alek Manoah have not had great starts, but they still figure out ways to win. And they're coming. It seems like they're coming around, at least that they're starting to figure things out because they're doing better. I don't know if it's a up and down situation or not, or if they're just up. Yusei Kikuchi has been a man on fire.
Yeah.
Hasn't had a loss yet. Gets tons of run support, but he also did this in the first half in Seattle a couple years ago when he was an all-star.
Yeah.
So in Seattle, he got tired at the break and was terrible down the stretch. And so we could see that happen again. We could see some stuff start to fall apart because, again, it is pretty early. But right now, I mean, Toronto, obviously they have the talent. I mean, they have a couple of guys who are going to compete for the MVP in Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette, I feel like. And they got Matt Chapman as Matt Chapman again. Like,
Right.
they're a good squad.
Yeah.
And they're really playing like it. I mean, 24-17 coming into. Oh no, that's their record now. Monday night, 24-17 because they lost today.
24-17. Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the American League. They're going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of teams that have good years and still end up missing the playoffs because of that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Let's stay with another American League East team. The Red Sox were swept by the Cardinals. They were swept by the Cardinals. The Cardinals still have the worst record in the National League.
Yeah.
And they got swept in 3 games. Friday's game, they dropped it 8-6. Cardinals won. Cardinals won again 4-3 on Saturday and 9-1 yesterday. And then Boston went and lost again tonight 10-1 versus the Mariners.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So I'm just like, following their 8-game losing streak, they're now 7-8.
7
right?
of 8. They've won 7 of 8.
They won 7 of 8 after an 8-game losing streak. Who are the Cardinals? And here's the next question, because they beat the Brewers 18-1 tonight.
Man.
18-1.
Oh, and guess what?
Tell me.
Wilson Contreras was catching tonight. I don't know. I don't think they know. I don't think they know.
Oh, man.
So weird. Like, they're just all over the place. But like we said, they've got the talent there to win games. And
100%.
honestly, 3 days ago, it looked like they're getting ready to have a fire sale next week.
Yeah. Well, we called it.
Yeah. And I saw who was it? Oh, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Jeff Passan or somebody else was on Dan Patrick being like, you could see Lars Nootbaar moved. You could see Tyler O'Neill moved. You could see
Tommy Edman.
Yes, like you could see all kinds of guys
Wilson
move because
Contreras.
they got to offload all these guys because they're terrible and they're not going to get any better. But here they are. Yeah. They're better today than they were 3 days ago. But who knows if tomorrow they're going to be better than they were 3 days ago? I don't know.
They beat the Red Sox 9-1. They beat the Milwaukee Brewers 18-1. Get out of this town. I have no idea what's happening. The Brewers are 23-18. They lead the whole division right now at 561. Yeah. And by the way, that is the 4th best record in the National League right now.
So here's one for you, Brig. I just had this thought. I don't know if this is necessarily the case or what's going on. I wonder if somebody went to management and they're like, we don't like Oli Marmol. You need to fire him. And they said, no, we're not going to fire him. Go out and play baseball. And they said, okay. And here they are. That's the only thing I can think of.
Maybe.
Is that management was just like, no, we pay you to play baseball, not make management decisions. So go out and do it. And here they are.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, it's a team that has playoff potential. And they're sure playing like it right now. And granted, it's a very small sample size because it's only a couple days. We'll need to give it another week or two to see what happens, especially against the Brewers right now. I'm curious what happens the rest of the series, but man, it is odd, and I am thoroughly confused.
I'm confused too. I'm looking up your trivia question.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to give
ready?
a fantasy update? Oh, go ahead. Okay.
No, give fantasy update, and then I'll give you a trivia question. Right. We'll end with that.
Week 6 fantasy update. Let's start with you, Brig. We're going to start with Rigor Mortis against the Harrisburg Charlies. That is John. Brig, you won this one 509 to 290. Your top performer was none other than Ty France, who's on a 12-game hit streak, by the way.
Whoa.
John's top performer was Vlad Guerrero Jr. the third. And then we have the big league Chupacabras. That is Jewel against Denise, Grace Under Fire. Jewel won this one big time, 593 to 423. Jewel's top performer was sorry, it's not loading. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Denise's top performer was Freddie Freeman. Jules was Lamont Wade Jr. Lamont Wade Jr. had 91 points. Freddie Freeman had 98. Then we had Burns Turner Overdrive against Devastation Incorporated. That is Tori and our listener participant Mike, respectively. Mike won that one 523 to 436. His top performer was Carlos Santana of the Pirates, of all people, with 51 points. He had a really well spread out scoring distribution because he also had Zach Gallen with 50 points. He was a monster, by the way. Yeah. And then Burns Turner Overdrive top performer was Christian Walker with 89 points. I lost yet again. I am who you think you are. I lost to not another fantasy team, Jason, 557 to 456. I don't feel so bad about that score after seeing some of these others right now. My top performer was Anthony Rizzo with 100 points on the nose, and Jason's was Nathaniel Lowe with 86 points. So congratulations to him. Now I'm 1-5.
That's fabulous. Before we get to our trivia question, I'm going to tell you that if you want to support the show, this is a great way to do it. Jump on patreon.com, go to search Baseball Together, and there are 5 tiers of support you can choose to commit to, jump into, whatever you want. And it really helps us out. That's probably the best way to support the podcast right now. Gives us opportunities to do a lot of cool things for you as the listeners, specifically hats and T-shirts and all kinds of things. You can get the unedited version of the episodes with our production meeting times and different conversations that we have, all the jokes and everything that doesn't get aired on the actual podcast recording. And go see, we have $1, $5, $10, $15, and even a $500 tier. So if you want to jump in there and support the podcast, there's lots of ways to do it and lots of perks for you. Couldn't do it without you. So we appreciate all our rooters for their support there.
For sure. And we actually have another thing coming down soon. We're going to wait to reveal that until we get some of the last few details hammered out. But it is something that's fun and exciting, and we are very excited to tell you about it. All right,
it's the coolest. All right, the trivia question. Ready?
Yep.
This team got its name in 1902. Don't Google anything. Its name in 1902 after some of its players defected to a crosstown rival, leaving young replacements.
Got its name in 1902?
Yep.
The Yonkers Batsmen.
Nope. You want to try one more time?
The New York Yankees?
Nope.
Was it the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Nope. It was the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. The White Sox, nice. Everybody ran from the White Sox to the Cubs.
Interesting. I did not know that. That is fun.
Oh, sorry. They left.
They left the Cubs to the White Sox.
North side to the White Sox. That's what it was.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. That's where they left with a bunch of young kids, and they got named the Cubs.
Oh, interesting. And tying into that, do you know why the Chicago Bears are the Bears instead of anything else?
No.
Because when they're naming the Bears, they're like, well, we've got the Chicago Cubs, and football players are bigger than baseball players. So if they're going to be the same, they're going to be the Bears.
Is that really how they got it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where that comes from.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
I'm here for that all day long.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But baseball family, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you think about what we're doing. You can do that in the comments of every single YouTube video. You can do that in the actual episode, or when we drop the bite-sized clips every single day going forward after this. We just try to fill up the YouTube channel with all kinds of stuff for you guys to watch, because it seems like you're enjoying it, and so we keep putting it there for you. So like we said, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss anything that's coming down the pipe your way. Baseball family, thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you next week.